So guys, it's the end of this season, and like last season, I wanted to do the recap video, since you guys seemed to like that, and I thought it was pretty fun. And I was going to keep doing it anyway, and you guys seem to enjoy it, so we're going to keep posting them. Once again, I kept track of all the decks we played, what type of decks they were. I added combo decks in this time. They were in the chart, we'll get to that later. But basically kept track of all the games I played, everything we played against, all in this nice spreadsheet. And let's just go get into it and see what we played against this season. So, first of all, the faction distribution of my games. I should disclaimer this again. This is only the games I played. This season, I did get sick with the flu at the beginning of the season, so I didn't play Gwent for like 2 weeks. Actually, it might have been a little more than 2 weeks. It was about 2 weeks. So I played much less games this season than I normally would. I would play like 160-ish games, something like that. So it's not going to be the greatest data set, but you know what? It'll be fun to look at anyway. As far as my opponents, we played 25.5% Nilfgaard, most common faction. No surprise there. Usually, I think it's always pretty much Nilfgaard's the most played, even when other decks are the best decks. Then we have Skellige at 21%. No surprise there either because of the prevalence of certain decks we'll get to. Then Northern Realms at 19%. Scoia'tael at 15%. Monsters at 11%. Again, I never realized Monsters were this low. And then 8.5% Syndicate. That is no surprise to me. Syndicate's always like the least played faction. So, no, I'm not too surprised by this. Kind of interesting, though. Nilfgaard I think is a little lower because of the nerfs it got to Nausicaa, but we'll get to that later. Now, what decks do we play against? So if we go take a look here, as I spoil literally everything, the most popular decks we played against by faction. Just ignore that scroll there. So the most popular monster decks we played were these ones. These are the decks I played more than once. Any other deck that I played against on the ladder, I only played one time, so I didn't put them on this chart. Last season I did 3 or more games. This season I'm doing 2 or more because there's less games, so it doesn't look like there's only 2 decks per faction. Monsters Frost, you can see we played 10 times. That's not a surprise. Hilariously, I played Monsters Frost a bunch of these games when I was playing Self Wound, and Frost just gets like steamrolled by Self Wound because you have Draco Turtle. This is a tangent. Draco Turtle, Olgierd Immortal, and Sigvald, and they can't kill them all. They can kill like one with Emel's Wrath, and they have to brute force the other ones. And it's just a huge pain for them. So I think I won like every one of these, but it's pretty funny. So yeah, Frost, most common. Then we have Tatterwing Arrakis Swarm. Really annoying deck. And then we have a few Ogroids, a few Death Wishes, some mid-range Farouche, Koschei Renfreys, and Vampire Renfreys. Not too surprised there. This is pretty expected. Frost was really popular last season for monsters and didn't get really any nerfs. I don't think it really needs any nerfs. It's just like a solid good deck for monsters. So those are the monsters decks we played. Nilfgaard, the most common one was Enslave Assimilate. This is Enslave 12, Assimilate, or Enslave 12. Enslave 6 with 12 tactics. But surprisingly to me, we only played 6 of those. I think a lot of these went over to Henry Shoup Assimilate, which we played this season. That deck's actually really good. Then, of course, the good old Renfrey Assimilates, tied with a Status Ball. And then we had a few Enslave Assimilate Ivos, some Nilfgaardian Knights with Toussaint, and then some Illusionist Juggler Spams and Mill. I should mention here, this is Toussaint Mill. I played a total of 4 Mill decks, but 2 were Toussaint, 1 was Tactile Decision, and 1 was I think it was Imposter. So I played 4 Mill decks. I sorted this by leader, so this is really up here for Mill. It's really actually fairly popular still. Again, I'm not too surprised here. I am surprised how good Henry Shoup turned out to be. But other than that, this is nothing unusual. Northern Realms. I've played 3 Northern Realms decks more than one time. What does that tell me? Is that Northern Realms is completely dominated by these decks, and there's really not much flexibility within it, which I find quite annoying. And the best Northern Realms deck, no surprise, Northern Realms Temple Demavend. We made a video on this deck. There's a few different versions of it. It's just really strong, has insane engines, has insane point slam, has great round control, just fantastic deck, so that's why it's here so many times. Knights, they're Knights. If you don't stop the Knights, they're going to get a lot of points. And then, to my disappointment, the only other deck we played more than once was Reavers, because of course it was. We had not much variety in Northern Realms at the moment. Then against Skellige, I'm sure this will be a surprise to everybody. We played 2 Crow Spams. We're starting down here because these are decks that are interesting. Crow Spam, 2 Self Wound decks, although Self Wound is a very good deck. And then we have, next, we have Onslaught Pirates, Golden Necker, which I separated because of Golden Necker. and then Onslaught Pirates with Compass. You really can add these together and see if there was it 16 Onslaught Pirate decks, either Golden Necker or Magic Compass, either one. Like, these two are very popular, and they completely dominate the faction at the moment. For Scoia'tael, this one surprised me. I didn't play that much Scoia'tael, and there was actually just a lot of one-of decks in Scoia'tael, which was funny. But for the most part, it's just Heist Waylays, Symbiosis, AL with Simlos playing Quad Golden Frost with AL the Ancestors. Pretty interesting deck, that one. And then just plain Dwarves. So, can't tell much here. There's just a lot of one-of Scoia'tael decks, which, not too surprising, I guess. There's a lot of different things you can do. And as far as Syndicate, again, not many Syndicate decks. Unlike Scoia'tael, there's a lot of one-of Scoia'tael decks. For Syndicate, there just weren't many Syndicate decks in general. So, Cove Collusion, Bounty, Crimes, Akarantia. Just nothing surprising there. Those are the good decks, in my opinion. More so the Cove Collusion and these two. These are quite good. I separated Crimes and Akarantia, although Crimes often plays Akarantia. These Akarantia decks were off the books, I believe, without the line pockets, so they had less Crimes in them. So overall, the most popular decks this season, we have Temple Demavend, Onslaught Pirates with Compass. If you want to, you can add Onslaught Pirates Golden Necker, which also made it on the top 10, onto that and make it number 1. I probably considered doing that, but I just don't want to mess with it because it makes it a lot easier to format this way. You've got Monsters Frost, and then those are like the big 3, Onslaught Pirates, Demavend, Frost. In my games, like I said, these are just my games. Then we have Tatterwing Arrakis Swarm, Enslave Assimilate, Knights, Henry Shoop, Onslaught, Pirates Golden Necker, Renfree Assimilate, and Status Ball. You kind of see a lot of these are Nilfgaard, right? Nilfgaard. They're pretty popular, but like the best ones are these guys at the moment. Most common ones in my games. So one telling thing, and I always like looking at, are the leaders, as I spoil everything again. I'll try not to do that next time. So for the monster leaders, this is all the leaders. They all got play, so that's something. White Frost is the most common because of the Frost deck, but only Frost plays White Frost, so there's never going to be more White Frost decks than there are like White Frost leaders used than there are White Frost decks. Whereas with the other ones, you can like kind of have different decks in them sometimes. Not vampires, but there's different vampire decks. So 10 White Frosts, some Arrakis Swarm. These are all Tatterwing. Every single one. We got Carapace, Overwhelming Hunger Tide, different variety of those. Then a couple of Force of Natures, those are the Koschei Renfree decks. A couple of Vampire Renfrees, and then just Fruits mid-range. For Northern Realms, this is probably not a surprise. Temple Demavend contributed 11 of these, but Inspired Zeal is the most popular leader. Followed by Royal Inspiration, everything else just kind of gets used. And amazingly, we saw an Uprising this season. We did see one Uprising player. So that's interesting. Nothing here unused. Moving on to Scoia'tael. Again, there's a pretty good spread here, because there's a lot of one-ofs of different things, right? So we got Guerrilla Tactics and Precision Strike. But again, like look at the total. 5 is the most one, so there weren't that many of them overall. Call of Harmony a couple times. Decent number of Precision Strikes. 4 one-of Precision Strike decks. 4 different variants of Precision Strike, like a Renfree, a Dragons, Sihil, like 4 different ones. Deadeye Ambush. Varieties of Waylays. Malcolm Forge, Invigorate, a couple different hand buff decks, and then Nature's Gift for Symbiosis. I'm not too surprised by this one, although I thought there'd be more Precision Strikes, to be honest, with the Renfree unnerf. You can see I was wrong about that. And as far as Skellige, yeah, once again, this is kind of like Northern Realms. Like Northern Realms is pretty much just Zeal and Inspiration. Here it's essentially just Onslaught. 16 Onslaughts, and then like 5 Patricital Furies, 3 Blaze of Glories, 2 Ursine Rituals. Again, this seems to always happen with Skellige. Last season it was Patricital Fury, now it's Onslaught, and they just got, well, you can see what happened there. It's just all Onslaught at the moment, so that's not great. I think that'll probably be addressed in the Balance Council, because at the moment, to be fair though, like, Ursine Ritual is a really good deck, and I think it's almost or as good as Onslaught Pirates, so it's a lot harder to play, I think. So I think that's why it's down here. For Nilfgaard, the most popular one is Double Cross. That's a new one for me. Double Cross just had several different decks, right? Renfrey Double Cross was really popular, and so was Henry Shoup Double Cross, and then there was like Mill Double Cross and a couple other ones. So it adds up to like the highest tier. But other than that, like this surprised me. I think it's mostly because those 2 or 3 good decks combined there. And then we've got Enslave, usually the top one, Imposter, Toussaint Hospitality for few different decks for your formation decision, and no Imprisonment. This one kind of surprised me. Like Imprisonment is extremely flexible, and a lot of decks can use it, but I guess those decks are focusing on other things. So Renfrey wanted to double cross some Imprisonment because they have the locks on the units, I guess. Imprisonment for statuses, you'd play Imposter instead, so you kind of see it. Still surprising to me. So overall, the most popular leaders in the game, we have Onslaught, Inspired Zeal, Double Cross, White Frost, Enslave, clearly dominated by Onslaught. Then we have Arrakis Swarm, Inspiration, Imposter, and then Carapace, and these other ones down here. All interesting to me. And if we take a look at the least popular, the leaders we saw 0 times were Imprisonment and Hidden Cache. The ones we only saw once were Stockpile. That's a little surprising to me. I thought I played more than one, but that might have been last season. Uprising, amazingly not at 0. Reckless Flurry, which is weird because I thought the Warrior deck would get more play with this. Rage of the Sea, yeah, Rain. It's I think this is a Renfrey deck. I think this is like a Renfrey Beast deck, not even a Rain deck. Battle Trance was just the Crows, although I've seen Crows not playing Battle Trance, which just surprised me. Yeah, I don't really know what's up with that, but I think they were some non-Battle Trance Crows. I can't remember what they played. I think it was maybe Blaze of Glory. I don't remember. And with Congregation, again, these are pretty unpopular ones, and these don't surprise me. So going on to deck type, like I said, I added combo decks here just because things like Salamander and the things like Salamander don't fit easily into one of these other categories. So I added the combo decks here. Double Witch's Sabbath type of stuff also, for just like if they get their combo off, they want to win. A lot of these are just random one-of decks combined together, but there's a decent number of them. So overall this season we played the most mid-range decks. That's, I think, generally the case. Then the next most engine decks. And then a bunch of control decks. Like these are the big 3, right? Mid-range, engine, control are the ones you see a lot. Point Slam kind of fallen off just because mid-range decks get so much value nowadays that they kind of have a overlap with Point Slam a lot. And then we have combo up here at 11%. I was surprised how many combo decks there were. There's just like a lot of one-of decks. People don't play combo with the armor abuse with Tainted Ale. There's like one of those, like one of some other Northern Realms decks. The literally Priestess combo decks really just set up the Priestess for the Verdant Roche, stuff like that. There's a lot of one-of decks. So this was interesting. And lastly, the one we didn't make a graph for, neutral packages. We have played only 9.6% of our games against Renfrey decks, which is surprising to me. I thought it'd be more after her unnerf. We only played 3 bomb decks, 2% of our games, no construct decks, again, 3 dragon decks, and that's it. So that is interesting overall. And I think this time we'll go to add something to this video that I didn't do last time. But first, as always, we played only one emote spammer this season, which is an Onslaught Compass player. And I believe they just spammed it, then played a combi and discarded something useless, and it was funny. But anyway, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 disconnectors. That's more than last season. But yeah, surprisingly not that many people disconnect once you get higher up. But yeah, that was interesting. And what I think we'll do this time that we didn't do last season is actually go to Gwent Data for our profile. So if you guys don't know, you can go to Gwent Data, and it has all kinds of information that's really useful. You see the season summary, what people played in the top 500, what factions, what win rates were the best. You can see all that good stuff here. There's a lot to look at, especially if you're going to vote on the Balance Council. It's always good to look at the top 250, top 100, see what's really doing well at the top level, because it might be something you didn't expect. Like Syndicate is usually way up here because it's just a really good faction for high skill cap. But anyway, what we're going to do is go to leaderboards, and if you're in the top whatever, you can see your name here. I'll click on our profile here and just take a look at the season, because why not? So this is not updated. I think the Gwent data updates like every other day. I had not finished my games for a couple factions. We're not actually 9,600. We're 99 something. So this is not accurate. And our actual position, I went and looked in the game, it's like 560 or something, like top 560. It's not actually this. It's like we're like 99 something and 560, I think. So we have 96 wins. Again, this is a little off because it doesn't have all the games in it yet. But our general win rate is about 63%. Our top 4 faction win rate is 71%. So what's that say? It says that the faction we didn't play a lot. Also, the LEI, I don't agree with this. I don't think it's pathetic. Whatever. Anyway, just fun to look at. So I thought this would be interesting to look at the faction win rates because this is information that I don't have collected. So we have a 65% win rate with monsters and 83% win rate with Nilfgaard, which is, we were playing Henry Shoup. That deck's really good. Then we have Northern Realms, we got a 71.5% win rate, 62% with Skellige, Swaytail 56. And if we look at our play rate by faction, again, we played mostly Skellige, so not surprising there. We didn't play many Nilfgaards, so that's why this win rate is so high. And then, like, these are the other ones we played, bit of everything. And then, yeah, so I thought we'd just take a look at that interesting information. So, but anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed. This is an interesting one. Tell me if you like the addition of this, like our ladder stuff, so you can kind of see this, because I don't know. I just feel like adding it today and see what you guys think about it. Let me know. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. That'll be it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. And you can check out some more videos over here. And thanks for watching.